SP, move on. Thanks.
Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to the Interfaith Dialogue. This is, as always, a great way for me to personally kind of ground myself in the middle of the week. I find myself looking forward to this session, and it provides a nice continuity for the week. This week is a particularly active week. We've been doing a lot of work in the area of peace education in Africa, and we have a big meeting coming up this Sunday. And we have 24 countries now actively engaged. So I was looking for quotes and different things to help inspire the group of country managers for this weekend. And I came across a particular one from Malcolm X. And again, one of these, the universe just put it in my inbox a couple of days ago. And I did think about Gabriel when I saw that it was a Malcolm X quote. But I want to share that with everybody because I think it goes to the heart of the value of these particular interfaith sessions and the value to propagating sessions like these around the world. The quote is that ignorance of each other is what has made unity impossible in the past. Therefore, we need enlightenment. We need more light about each other. Light creates understanding. Understanding creates love. Love creates patience, and patience creates unity. And I can't agree with that more. You know, I find personally that I work on my patience. You know, it's an area that I've always had to work on, and an area that I continue to try and focus on being more patient. But you know, having that ability to have the patience allows me to be more accepting and take that moment to consider all the various ways that I can respond to things. And certainly all of that is based on a knowledge of others and a willingness and a desire to learn about others. I see in my work in Africa that there are so many conflicts that are rooted in an unwillingness to learn about the other culture, the other ethnicity, the other faith tradition. And that is the sort of thing that sessions like this help to disperse. Now, the more we're able to see the beliefs of others, the more we recognize that they are indeed so much more aligned with our beliefs than we had ever realized before. So Guruji, thank you for inviting me and having these sessions each week. It's great to see everybody. And like I said, I really look forward to these sessions and bringing peace lights, the symbol of peace, to bring its energy and to collect the energy, if you will, from these sorts of meetings. So thank you very much. And I'll be mostly listening this time because I have a couple things on the side, but I will be tuned in and listening to this. So thank you all. Looking forward to hearing the discussion today.
Great. Who is going next? Bye-bye.
Namaste, everyone. Brother Pete, thank you for sharing the comment on the quote from Malcolm X. Knowing about each other, I think, you know, it really goes to the concept of body consciousness versus soul consciousness. If you really dive deep into who we are, where we have come from, where we need to go, that all the scriptures talks about in different ways. Jesus talked about 3 levels of understanding of spirituality. First being the messenger of God. All of us on this world is our messenger of God. Next is next is Son of God, that establishing the relationship with the divinity. And then the eventuality of I and my Father are one. That is, we think we are the body, we think we are the mind, intellect, and eventually finding who we really are. What's that energy source which is making us think, feel, act, prompting, and all the various layers of understanding, misunderstanding has made us the way we are now. To going back to unpeeling all the things we have learned, to really to see the code, just to be childlike. So knowing about each other is to going back to forgetting our worldly understanding as well as intellectual understanding based on our individual experience in life, past and present. We react to a situation. At the core understanding, if you go to main teaching, as I mentioned about Jesus, and in Islam, Prophet Muhammad talked about light is in me, I am in the light, I am the light. Again, elevating our consciousness and understanding that who we really are, that we are the spark of this divinity. We are here to share God's love and to share with everyone. So we have to keep focusing on the core teaching of all the main religions. That's love transcends all barriers. And with that love, we don't have any reason to hate anyone. We can agree because we can agree and agree to disagree simply because we don't have that understanding of what the other person is coming from. It's eventually comes down to, in my mind, that healing ourselves. We have to look back at our childhood, parental upbringing, to see why we are not accepting unconditional love for self as who we are, and then accepting that unconditional love, extending that to everyone in our life path. So the psychologist, psychiatrist, spiritual leader, confession in the religious setting, all designed to understand our mental trauma as to what's really holding us back to be in the space of unconditional love in the childlike situation. So understanding each other goes back to the core teaching of religion, that we are love, God, we are part of the same family, we are all one. We have to respect each other, acknowledge each other, share a meal, and spend time together to build that bridge. So that's all I have to say. So let's go back, understand who we really are. We are this pure soul. So I'm focused on that spiritual awareness, understanding, bringing that into core principle. That's why I share the message of oneness of all, hate none, inclusion, upliftment, uniting. Those are the concepts I live by to increase the vibration in myself of positivity and to share that positivity with the help of Guruji and all of you. I'm truly blessed to have been connected to all of you. So let's work together. Let's make this life a wonderful journey. So when we go back to face our creator, we say, okay, at least you tried to live by teaching of universal love and then make this place a better place than how we found it. Om Shanti, God bless, Jai Sai Ram.
Thank you, Rajibhai. I'll invite Chris Bihari, is from the Universal Peace Federation. Please unmute yourself.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm very glad here to represent Universal Peace Federation and the coming together of world communities. It is the hope, I think, more of our Creator than it is our hope. I think our Creator creating all of men for the longest time, from the beginning, things have been broken away in the relationship to Him. And then as the time progressed, different religious communities started growing in many different areas around the world. And then now we have a world internet that can connect us instantly, and that we could share all of the great teachings that our Creator had inspired for all of mankind through our ancestors. I think our ancestors, like when you said they go to meet the Creator, they realize that what they could or couldn't do. But at this time, that now we have such a communication ability that we can give to one another the deepest understanding of true relationship, not only with our inside of our own mind and body and the perfection of our own self, but the perfection of our family and of our community. And therefore we can expand this now throughout the world. And as time is going on, I think that the internet is something that is like we can instantly connect to people from all over the place. But I think it is a precursor of understanding that when people can connect to their ancestors, there's the internet of heart, and that we will, the heart of true love and the community of all the cosmos, be able to be shared together. And I think this is really a wonderful thing that as this is progressing, conference by conference and group by group, it is bringing a really deep joy, not only to me, but I think it is bringing joy to our Creator. That's what I'd like to say today.
I like to ask you a question. How long you are with the UPF? What made you to be part of the UPF?
I've been in the UPF since 1998. And I've been part of this and traveling to many conferences around in Korea, Japan, and several places in the United States. And the Universal Peace Federation really is such, has now even developed even more. Many as PF is the mother program, is into an association of economic leaders, of former heads of state, former women, wives of the heads of state. So there's a international gathering. So I've attended these, and this big I was able to connecting with you through some other UPF members that have already connected with you. And really, I see it as much more of a, many people are going to be connecting in the future.
Guruji, you're on mute as well.
I remember the first movement happened for the UPF in late 90s.
Yes.
I was in India that time.
Yes.
I was the first yoga teacher for the Unification Church in India. So we had a lot of interfaith gatherings. I used to send some political leaders, parliamentarians, religious leaders to Korea for different events.
Yes.
Very, very interesting to see the growth happen in different levels. You know. Now, so
Oh,
new organization, new people, and in
yes.
with the different groups, and we are part of the UN group. It's very interesting the way people move. Now,
Yes.
I'd like to invite Gabriel Martinez. Please unmute. You already unmute. Open your video. Unmute yourself, Gabriel.
I just came in right now and heard unmute yourself, Gabriel. I don't know what's going on.
What do you want to say? You can say.
If you could give me a minute just to collect myself.
Okay, that's fine. Rajbhai. Rajbhai.
Yes, I'm here. I was eating some fruits, that's why I had to
No,
go
that's
to
fine. Dialogue can have chai and
Right, yeah. I enjoyed attending some programs at the UPF at 4 West 43rd location. It's a fabulous organization. I'm glad that we are all connected through Guruji to UPF, and Guruji has been participating in that from the late 80s, 90s.
Right.
So Interfaith is in Guruji's blood, and he's pulling us all together. This was World Yoga Community. Community is beyond family, beyond nation, beyond the boundaries. You know, it's all inclusiveness. You know, so thank you for that.
Raj is a peace ambassador from the UPF. I am. I don't know Pete got that award or not. Peace ambassador from UPF. No. We'll make it. No problem. I think Gabriel was the youth representation.
We're looking at starting a peace ambassadorship for Project Peace Lights in Africa.
Great.
And people from schools and religious congregations will be able to attend the days of discussion, and there'll be a train the trainer session on human rights. So we're working with Youth for Human Rights with their curriculum, which is a great curriculum, and they'll be able to take those skills back to the villages and the schools and congregations and propagate the human rights education more quickly than the peace education curriculum for Africa will be able to be rolled out. So we'll be adding value there, but it's going to be through these peace ambassadors that are notionally being organized right now.
So Pete, sometime back, there was some dialogue of bringing the tribal groups in Africa together in this peace education movement. Can you share some current development in that?
Sure, we actually had a very big jump forward in that planning. And that's the main work that's being done in the 24 countries right now is organizing and finding out what the best way to do that is. We changed it from the name of a tribal outreach and engagement program to an ethnic outreach and engagement program, because it's more than tribes. And I've come to learn in becoming this student of Africa that the word tribal is actually considered pejorative in certain parts of Africa, especially Kenya, parts of Kenya. It's a flashback to the colonial times. So, and you know, with the presence of caliphates and kingdoms and chiefdoms, it's more inclusive if we just call it an ethnic outreach program. So we've decided that rather than try and reach the tribes directly and have one meeting with each tribe, we're going to reach all of the tribes by having geopolitical regions. So in Kenya, there are 47 counties. We'll have 47 days of discussion. And the person who is the county coordinator for that will be responsible for identifying and reaching out to every ethnic group within that county. and making sure that all through the women's and children's coordinators. It's great if they know the elders and know the king and so on and so forth, but absolutely engaging the women's and children's coordinators, because they will be the champions in the group. And then pulling them together for the nominally 200 person discussion. We're going to have 3 people host each one of these days of discussion. And these 3 people will probably take the 200 people that are registered and come to these meetings, split them into groups of 3. It's much more manageable, and have these sessions of what do you think the topic should be? We would talk with the whole group of 200 about the background, how we got there, and then split into groups of 3, talk for an hour or 2, get their list on the charts on the wall. Then when the morning break happens, the 3 hosts will get together, kind of distill the 3 lists into one, so that when everyone comes back, it can be reviewed and any additions added or deleted or whatever it is. And then everyone gets together for lunch, and then a dignitary will speak at that. Maybe it's the county governor, maybe it's a religious leader, maybe it's a leading youth from that county. And they're able to kind of have this session be good. And then the country coordinator will be the one responsible for taking those inputs from that day of discussion and making sure it gets back to the working group, the peace education working group. So that's kind of where we're at. We have 56 divisions in Cameroon. In Nigeria, there are 36 states, but they're so populous that we're going to do 3 days of discussion in each one of those states. So it'll be 108 visits in Nigeria. Some of the countries are small. Gambia will have 16, Liberia will have 15, Guinea will only have 4. Well, they only said they only needed 4. I'm thinking that might not be enough, but we're in discussions. But it's nice to have country managers now that are not getting paid. Everyone right now is a volunteer. And I'm at the point where I've been engaged with a couple potential investors, and I'm getting asked questions on use of funds, which is the right next step for me to be having a discussion about that. Like, hey, if you're going to throw in $1 million, this is how it's going to be used. And you should want to know how it's going to be used. And we would want someone from your organization to be on the trustee board for Project Peace Lights. The final thing I'll say on that, and thanks for the question, Raj. The final thing I'd say is that we are more and more getting ingrained in this tagline of by Africans for Africa, by Africans. And that's becoming very important, because what we're seeing as we start to register Project Peace Lights in all the countries is that if you approach the country or the organization that's responsible for registering your entity in the country, if you come at them as an African organization, then it seems like it's a more streamlined structure. If you come at them from an international organization, then their hands might be out more, looking for more fees and everything like that. But it's totally legitimate that this is an African organization. I'm just a facilitator, and I've said that from day one. I'm a facilitator, and this is an African initiative being run by Africans, including diaspora Africans, because that's part of the AU definition. Is the 6th region is the diaspora. So we're making good progress. I'll tell you, it's taken up every spare moment of my time. I talk to 4 to 5 to 6 African countries every day.
All different time zones and
Yep. And the time zones just changed. So for this meeting on Sunday, I have to make sure that everyone knows that we just changed our time. So it's no longer 8 hours to East Africa, it's 7 hours. So it's keeping me busy, keeping me interested, and I'm still as passionate as ever, and I draw passion from these sorts of meetings, with talking with you and talking with everybody on Wednesday and hearing everybody's opinions and takes. And I've said in the past, I pick up something every time I'm on one of these meetings. Like from you just said community is beyond just, your local. I like that, because the World Yoga community is a partner, and a very important partner. And I keep raising this at these meetings. The ultimate peace education curriculum that gets developed should and will include, if I have any input as a facilitator, this notion of inner peace and all the wisdom that comes out of faith traditions that are around the world, and yogic practices and philosophies and wisdom should be part of what is taught. Kind of back to the Malcolm X quote before, if we shine a light on yoga and shine a light on meditation and shine a light on some of the practices of different faith traditions, that will make everybody be closer and bring about a culture of peace more readily. So at some point, Guruji, I'm going to ask you if you would speak to this assembled group. I think we're still in the formative stage. We have 10 new managers coming on, so maybe not this time, but maybe next month. And that's the update. So thanks for asking.
Thank you. I'm so glad that you are including definition of ethnic as opposed to tribal connection. I think that goes a long way. I want to ask you, what is the African word for peace?
There are many. There are so many languages in Africa. What
like
we're doing is
shanti, but like that.
Right. I don't know. That's a good question. In French, the three main Western languages are there's Arab, there's English, and there's French, and there's Portuguese in 3 of the countries, Angola and 2 others. So, but then everything else is local languages. One of the things we're doing during the days of discussion is having the words peace lights translated into as many languages as we can, so that we can add that to peace lights. I mean, you see right now on the peace lights, if you're in gallery view, it's transitioning into the languages. So you're on mute, Guruji. I see you trying to talk.
How many languages you have in your peace light now?
55 languages right now.
Do you have a list of it? Because we had to work on that part. Make a list. Whichever we are missing, we had to add.
So I have a column in our worksheets, in our Excel spreadsheets for each country. And that column is peace lights in the local languages and all the local languages. So yeah, that's a good point though. I'm hoping that some intern or something, I'll assign that to make the master list of languages. Because I don't have that person yet.
I want to add Malayalam. Raja has his language, Kannada, and Anbai has Marathi. Like we have different languages in India. So add everything, that will get that much exposure.
One of the things will be to there'll be
sound behind. What is sound behind?
Some of what?
There's a radio or something going on.
That might be the other room for me. Let me try and move further away.
So this is my point, because June is the International Yoga Day, our festival, and all together. I'm working with some of the continental groups. So our plan is 30 days continuous programs from 10 to 1 every day. Different speakers from different schools or organizations, like lecture classes, 30 minutes, or satsang, whatever it is. And June 21st will be the UN coordinating event with all the NGOs and all that stuff. And the last day will be our 28th annual festival. That's making like a project. So I'm going to invite some people from the government of India, some ambassadors, or one ambassador from South Argentinians all agree on June 5th. That is South American Yoga Festival is going to happen. So like last month we did with the Interfaith group, right? So that if everybody working together, it will multiply.
Is there any insight whether the UN will be able to host anything?
So. This year also they are going to do online. When we had a meeting last month, Secretary General said only after this year. So, but we had to do our work, even if UN exists or not, we are here for people. We'll continue our work. UN is only part of our movement.
Well, I'm hopeful to have Peace Lights be able to be automated by then. We're working on trying to have a cloud computing company be a partner of ours and have a program written where we could take Zoom invites into zoom@projectpl.org. And as long as it has a meeting ID and the password, we would run a session of Zoom in the cloud.
Right.
And if you have a nice processor in the cloud, you could probably do 4 or 5 Zooms on that one processor. So we wouldn't take up a lot of resources within the cloud. And maybe we'll be able to have an automated way of supporting not only every day for the yoga.
Major events, yeah.
Right.
Pete, can I ask you another question?
Sure.
In the African culture, the light, what significance it has? Like in Hindu tradition, everything is lamp, light, etc. like that. I mean, to your understanding as to when you connect peace lights, how do the ethnic tribes relate to that? As to that is, of course, they worship the nature, sun god, etc. But in terms of
So I found in my limited exposure so far that it reminds me of the symbolism. There is the sun worship for sure that goes back as long as it goes back in Hindu or Buddhist traditions as well. So that exists, and there is a reverence for light, but not across every region I'm finding. So it's an interesting comparative study that I haven't really dove into, but I have come across that there is absolutely the sun worship, and that there is
the reason I mentioned that is the tribal groups, if they're not fully accepting it, there may be some resistance to overcome that, maybe including whatever is dear to them as also part of peace lights to really.
Well, the lights seem to be universally well received. I haven't had an example where the lights have turned people off. And especially when you describe the symbolism, and not only the symbolism, but when you say to them, look, wherever Peace Lights plays around the world, people are encouraged to project their own thoughts and intents for peace into those lights. And that energy is available. And that seems to overcome a lot of any trepidation at all. It's a common experience, whether it's in a mosque or in a church or in an ashram. And that seems to be there's nothing threatening. It's never been commercialized. The only commercial aspect of Peace Lights that is envisioned is fundraising through merchandising eventually. We're not even there yet, but we are building that out. The country manager in Ghana has just taken Peace Lights and had a high quality image, a pretty large image. Probably I only saw pictures of it, but imagine holding a nice size frame. He had it framed, and it's going to be given to the ministries of chieftaincy and religions and the Ministry of Education, because we've gotten endorsements from those two ministries. Not officially yet, because we're not officially an entity in Ghana yet, but the meetings have happened, and we've gotten the handshake that there's going to be an endorsement because they buy into the whole project. So yeah, the lack of commerciality of it, and we've got from day one we really tried to make it non-commercial, because the moment you get commercial, the moment people start pointing at you and you saying, "Oh, you're in this for the money," so it never has been that, and we're going to stay away from that.
What's been the reception from the African diaspora for Peace Lights?
Peace Lights has been good. Project Peace Lights initially met with some resistance. And the resistance was, this should be done by Africans. You got to focus on the United States. The United States needs peace education, arguably more than Africa. And I had people stand up at talks and in my face, kind of, like, leave this to Africans, and but peace lights everyone seems to love. Everyone kind of got the energy, but the project Peace Lights was a little bit more of a learning experience for me to make sure that everyone was on board with the By Africans for Africa part of Project Peace Lights. And then, everyone seems to resonate with the fact that peace in Africa is good with peace for the diaspora. Because you've heard me speak. I've been pretty vocal about my experience going forward, and I believe through what I've learned about the relationship between Africans and the diaspora that there are more bridges that need to be built. Yeah. I've heard things like, Africans coming here and saying, well, hell, it's 150 years since you've been slaves. What's your attitude about? And I've heard it going the other way too. And there needs to be more education, and building those bridges is only going to make that better. So
I think your work with Claudette Colvin and in Harlem, that makes easy connection. They're able to see that you're part of them, as opposed to not an outsider to break the ice.
And I can play both roles. I can get away with saying stuff as an outsider. And I can also say, hey, but my journey, the reason I'm here is because of Claudette Colvin. And that's an immediate connection, right? Yeah. And so I kind of, I like the ability to play it both ways because I can call people if they're talking nonsense, and I'm just an outsider. And I really am. I'm not, but I am. And I can play that objectively. Like, hey, I didn't, I'm just a guy from New Jersey. And I don't say a white guy from New Jersey. I always say a guy from New Jersey because color doesn't matter, right? And right. If you look at it, there's 9% of Africa is not black. And that's 1.3 billion people. That's a big number. So, I can get away with saying things because you all, or most of you might know Julian Michael. Julian Michael always said to me, just keep coming from the light. And he's right. If you speak from the light, you can safely say things because you're not intending to hurt anybody. If you misstep, you can still misstep coming from the light, and you have to apologize and make it right. Right. But
yours is a noble intent. I think that's the key. That there's nothing in it for you. It just with a pure intent of spreading that peace light. Thank you for that.
Thank you,
Gabriel.
Yes.
Hallelujah.
Everyone, namaste.
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 It's so wonderful. Raj. I love your everything, man. Your Instagram posts lately, everything is coming together like one family.
One family under God.
Huh? Sorry,
one
Guruji.
Family under God.
One family under God. Yes.
Yeah, one family.
And Pete.
Thank you. That was a pure expression of love. Your laughter said your message, so you can begin.
Yes, these are the kind of dialogues that I dreamed of when I was a child. It's every child, I think, wants to have this at least opening to be able to feel reconciliation, rather than going to. I remember going to church in Catholic school, and reconciliation was kind of so like a ritual. Like you would go stand up and you would walk through the pews and you would do all this stuff almost mechanically, and you would say. You wouldn't be able to use your own words. You would have a format with which to repeat things, and it wasn't really coming from you. But this type of community and communion and sharing is true reconciliation. It's reaching each other from the heart level, from the light, and bringing everything to where it really is. It's really shining the light on things as they are. And waking up from whatever dream, whatever, as beautiful as some of the dreams are, why stay in the limited? And the concept of a nuclear family, it's enclosed still, it's encapsulated. And it's nice to have a nuclear family, but it's also nice for the family to branch out and to form that union. And you're absolutely right. The color is absolutely meaningless. In actuality, that's why I was asking about science, because the whole visible light spectrum is such a minute thing. And when we consider the rods and the cones and you know the retina and the display of all these electrical charges that has to be interpreted by a certain area of the brain that only measures it in a three-dimensional, and you know, everything is so limited in its capability. And the limitation is fine. There's beauty in the limitation, but the transcendence is seeing the fullness of everything instead of just the limitation by itself. And this meeting is expanding the horizons, and it's wonderful to all of this is wonderful. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Then what else? So this
Could,
Sunday, yeah.
Guruji, could I just expand one bit, because I like that. It was something I jumped into. I have a background in immersive imaging, 3D stuff, and if you just look at one eye, you just see 2D. Your brain does 3D just by this slight motion and a parallax shift. Our brains just do it, and we sense it. You open up both eyes, and you don't have to move your head. You can see the 3D, but it's more than that. It's more than just 3D that we see. By just doing this in an environment, we can pick up the energy of the environment. And you can pick up the energy in a movie, in a well-produced movie. You can get an empathetic feeling with what's going on the screen. But we have this beautiful gift of being able to naturally, intuitively, subconsciously, immediately take all of the inputs from all of our senses, even the ones beyond 5, and integrate them. And that is kind of a synergy. The whole is greater than the sum of the parts, and that is something where we start to overlap into the faith and the God domain, and every religion touches upon that in its own way, but it's the same thing. So that would be my, and I've had some deep scientific discussions about everything from, you know, light going into where it gets processed and how it gets there and where it splits off and blah, 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 blah.
The Calcarine Fisher, yeah, the visual cortex.
Cool stuff.
I would love to talk with you more about that, actually. I studied that from an early age through my father's medical school textbooks, and I used to ask a lot of questions. And then when I started to go into, not professionally, but when I started to look into quantum physics on a personal level, and I also had very sensitive energetic experiences, and I've never been able to kind of close it off, which ended up being a blessing, but wasn't a blessing when I was younger because I didn't know how to process all of the, it came through almost like if you took a kaleidoscope and you packed so much volume into the kaleidoscope that even though you're looking at a flat image in a kaleidoscope, it's the amount, the concentration, the content that kind of overfloods. And it was kind of like, okay, how do I work through all of these little filaments that you know, fill an ocean basically. And it's really the spiritual process. It's really centering it in the devotional aspect of serving, having that heart-centered aspect that by itself takes care, in my experience, as far as my experience, how I found it, it's really funneling it through that devotion that really all these things find their natural placement, and I don't have to do any work to process anything. It's already perfectly placed, and there's just a fine-tuned consciousness or awareness of it that just naturally happens and emerges, and there's no work to do. There's nothing left to do. It's just it's really kind of like you were at home all the time. You were always in Kansas. You know, you didn't even need to click your heels 3 times and wish for anything.
Yeah, but coming to that self-awareness is a step. And like Raj pointed out a couple months, was it? No, it was Anand pointed out that, you know, for knowledge, you go to college, but if you want to take that step that you're describing, you got to go to your guru. You got to have a guru, right? So that's.
So this is my question. How much is it? How much is it?
1.
What?
Mhm.
How much this?
2.
How much this?
3.
How much this?
4.
How much this?
5.
How much is this?
All of it.
So we have 5 senses. We had to go use very well. We go to the 6th sense. Nothing permanent. This I create 20 years back, and people start laughing. They cannot understand what you say, right? So we need these 5 senses to go deeper, to experience the 6th sense. And once you start the 6th sense, there's no starting or there's no end. It is a universal travel. So you allow universe to act in within us. That's the way it is. You tune with it. Most of the time, religious organizations, they stuck with the administration instead of the practical spirituality, you know. And they have this dogma, this and that, then stuck. For our part, okay, we can have any organization, whatever money or not money, or doesn't matter. We born on this earth as a universal being, divine being. We have to create a higher conscious state and travel in and jump into it. If somebody don't know how to swim, we cannot teach them online. It's very hard. Bring them to the water. That's only way. No other choice. So people go away from the reality and create a set formation. This is the way it is. Last day, I had an argument with one of the organization, yoga organization. They said, oh, we just go with the academic level. I said, what is real academic? We all learn from elders. That's the way we started, right? Not from a school or a college. Okay, we have a settings in our life. So good to have a certification, fine. But we had to learn. If you don't know how to handle our life, then it's a problem with the certification. You have this black belt and you get a certificate. And somebody is going to punch you and going to hit you. Are you going to show the certificate? I have black belt certificate. You know, first of all, you talk with them nicely or run away. Then there's no other choice. Then you can use the force. That's what we learned, right? In the martial arts school, they never ask us to fight. Defend yourself. Best technique is run away from the problem. And there is no other choice, yes. Then we had to move on. So somehow this business tactics, you know, destroy our mind from the reality to a fantasy. So that we had to remove from our head. Good to have some dream to build up something. That's good. Without that dream, nothing will happen. You know, okay, I want to make this activities in a higher state, you know, with the people, this and that. It's good to have. But we don't want to stuck with it. And we put bad motivations, you see they end up in the horrible situation after some years. You always see that part. So good to have a slow process.
Guruji,
Yeah.
question. mentioned we have to work with all the five senses. In your mind, which is the most important sense?
Everything is important.
Everything is
I
important.
cannot see, I cannot understand the reality of the beauty of the nature or the people, right? If I cannot smell, I cannot experience the differences of the smell, even touch. But when you go to the sixth sense, every moment is sensitive and non-sensitive. That's how it is. A child want to be with the mother in the beginning state, and slowly more time with the father, then slowly with the relatives and communities, then with the boyfriend or girlfriend, and then with the children and grandchildren. In the end, finish. The ultimate only reality is we are with the universe. Maybe I may have family or not. We all are made of the same elements. That's why the universe spirituality comes. We may have differences even in the sex orientation or chromosomal, part, or the experiences in our past life and the current life can be different, but we are part of the universe, and that level we are all are equal. No other level. Even thoughts are different. People try to fight, so we want to have equal rights. So I tell people, especially for ladies, you have rights more than us. We have capabilities more than us. You have to realize yourself.
The reason I asked the question was that, when meditation, other things, they focus on the third eye. Eye is most powerful. Once the eye focus on an object, then everything you get attracted, and the desires and a chain reaction.
Yeah.
If you don't, as opposed to other things, unless we activate by eating food or listening to music or smelling.
Even
That's why I was asking.
Yeah, I got it. Even we think about third eye. If our body is not cleansed or energy is not flowing well in astral level, it can create a big problem for a practitioner. That's why we need gurus. They know how to clean up that channel, right? And we have different types of life in our family or community, and we may stuck with the certain areas. So people got even psychological problems when they focus on the third eyes. If you are not focusing on the third eye, just go for the heart, expansion, energies come and go. You sit in silence and observe your breath itself will make a big difference. That's why we create different types of events, so people will open up. Oh, this event, why they're having this event? Interfaith, why we need interfaith? Now people have a movement for inter-spiritual. There's only one spirituality. There's nothing to inter. So intercultural is different. Different cultures are there. In spirituality is only one. God is only one. In Hinduism, we have so many gods, fine. Even they talk about only a God. You focus on the God, like a third eye, you focus on the third eye, and you go to the next level, you are not focusing on anything. That is very hard to do it. Going to that state, we may need a little sculpture or prayers or scriptures. Some people say we don't believe in any God, we only one God, but they fight for the scripture. That's also wrong. Yeah. Wonderful to learn things and realize who we are. That's the part we have to look for it. Then we start loving everybody. Even though
the most important aspect is the expansion. So all these yogic practices is towards, I guess samadhi is that stage, right?
Only a stage, starting stage. Samadhi is the last part of the starting stage.
Oh, okay, okay,
They have
okay.
different types of samadhis, yeah. And the
Then
ultimate, they will enter in the universal energy and disintegrate the body. That's the way it is. They sit
that's
for
that being
years.
in that space. That's being in the space of silence, I guess.
Correct.
Being silent in silence.
So very hard to be in silence. So we do the mantras and all the things. When you do the mantras, it will vibrate our energy center and start cleansing up. You know, like one sewage. You look at the sewage, and you want to clean the sewage because there's a blockage there. Do you start the cleaning the beginning part, or you start the cleaning the end part? We had to clean from the end and allow them to get out. If you clean only the starting part, nothing will happen. Sewage has to run, right? So sometimes you had to start from the outside and start from the inside and clean it very well. Then
So when they say awakening the Kundalini, that's what they're talking about?
yeah, Kundalini is supposed to happen automatically. We don't have to do anything for it. And I remember one guy came to one of our camp in 95, and he just practicing this one. Then I don't know, he read somewhere, and suddenly he woke up around 3 o'clock in the morning, yelling and all the stuff. Then I held his hand, and he slowly started calming down. The next day I asked all the questions, and it came out from his mouth. He was doing some rigorous practice. It's not supposed to happen. So he ended up in the hospital. After some years, then he recovered and he had a family. So this happened to so many yoga practitioners.
Very interesting. Thank you.
Now people can go to online and do things, They'll say, oh, look, this is this.
There's YouTube for everything.
We damage ourselves. That's the way it is.
I mean, in terms of forgiveness is a big concept for me, in terms of self-forgiveness and then forgiveness of people in our lives. Any comments on that?
Yeah, because I had a great experience forgiveness. Sometimes I won't forgive to the person unless they won't learn it. So when you become a teacher, we are teaching people, right? And students are the worst for a teacher. They bring all the crap in our life. So we cannot be silent for a long period. So we had to strike them. I'm not angry towards them, but I had to do it. Then they will get more angry. They make more mistake. Let them have it. Then they will learn from that part. Then we'll talk. It may take years, And the end, they will cleanse themselves.
Okay.
That's the way.
Thank you. I don't want to monopolize someone else, please.
Because this is where supposed to, because you see the Indian tradition, Gurukula system, Guru is a father, mother, and all the relative and teacher. That's the way they care about the student. And if they see they're spending all their time and student is not doing anything, practicing, and they're just using our time, we'll strike them. It's not about $1, $100 value. Yeah. We cannot count with them $1 million for a teaching like that. So we'll strike them. We have to. That's the way it is. And for Western world, they cannot take it. That's why I create our education system as a 2 years program, and 10,000 hours there has to be with me. That's long for people. They can go to a college, they can get a PhD with that. I said, you go for it. Want to really learn it and establish, stay with me. Otherwise, nobody is forcing people to stay. So that means within 12 years, they become a really solid teacher, not a student, because we want them to become a teacher. It's like an ongoing process, right? I was talking to one of the group in South America today. I said, whoever make business, let them have fun. Fine. We create this way and we'll have other projects to implement different things for the financial area and all that stuff. And slowly it will grow. And a lot of time, especially family members cannot take it this one. They create problems. Let them have a problem. Yeah. Never give up. That's the thing I learned from my personal life. Relatives, friends, they will discourage you first. They will fight with you. You know, let them have that one. That will make us strong too. You know. So they gossip. Let them have fun. Enjoy themselves. We don't have time for it. We move for the next step.
You got to keep focused. You got to
That's
focus
it.
on the problem.
One guy told me, oh, I cannot use your religious title for this and that. I said, you can use only my first name. So why is that? I said, I don't want to carry my last name. That's my father's name. If I put full name, people may call me Mr. Thankappan. I don't want my people calling me my father's name. Did you see that? That's a dogma. This is not about the name or title. If they have the love is different, you know. If somebody is coming with the one guy wrote Mr. Dileepkumar Thankappan, I said, can you take that Mr. out? Because that is a British system. We are not following British system. If somebody has a religious title, let them have the title. What's the problem? You know, let them have it. That's right. We call American president Mr. President. Do you call your father Mr. Thomas or Mr. Raj? Children are not supposed to call father or mother their name. You know, that way they get the more egos. Give respect, daddy, mother, you know, mama. You see the feelings are different. My students are coming, hey, Mr. Dileep, how are you doing? I said, get out from here. There's no love relationship there, no demand. I give you $100, give me a certificate. One lady asked me a few years back, I'll give you $100, give me a yoga teacher certificate. I said, no. No, somebody offered me. I said, go and take it. Yeah. Let them have fun. So many things we can do for making money. Right? But for this, no. This is the thing Swami Boy used to say. You want one best iron business guy from India, number one in the world. He came to his house. I was there. Swamiji, I can make a ashram for you. No problem. I have billions of dollars. No problem. Indian guy. So Swami asked me to make a chai. I made a chai and give it to him and all that. He said, you finish your tea? Go home. See you next time. This is the way it is. So we cannot sell spirituality. That means we are limiting, trying to limit spirituality. We can do other things to make money and spend money.
Right.
This is supposed to be separate. So if you make yeah, it is. So like you mentioned, the money created or any other project created in Africa should go to Africans. Same thing I told South Americans and Europeans. You create things, I'll help all this stuff and use for your people, not for you. You know? Some people think World Yoga Community is making millions of dollars. The project what we do worth $10 billion projects, correct? It is. People take so many months to create one event for us every day. It's happening. Even I am not planning things. People call, oh, Gurji, can we make this event? I said, what is the plan? Oh, we want to do this. I said, this is the thing, we can do it. Can you cope with it? Yes. Move on. That's it. So that is happening automatically. So that means the universe knows we are doing good things, and obstacles will come, we'll face it. And other ways people come in. So we allow them to come in. They're not blocking. And when they come with the business motivation, then I'll block it. It will destroy the movement. Like this Sunday we have an event. Miss Universe India is going to be part of it. And Yeshuda's niece is the MC for that event. And she's connecting some other people. So that's good. All our ladies, let them have their day to celebrate. It's like a fast track events going on. I'm just communicating with them. So those things they all come from the business mind. But sometimes we had to acknowledge them in the moment, and that's the way they learn about the way how we move, right? So once in a while, that's fine. Overall, when you calculate, the activities in the UN point of view, we did the best part. Even in the Interfaith Harmony Week, I was checking all the other events. We were the number one. Yeah, we did 14 days, every single small events, big gatherings, and the end it was beautiful. So that's the way we had to incorporate with people. Even I was thinking about we may have to mobilize yoga event in Africa. So let me see how we can do that part. We had
well, when we have the Peace Education Curriculum Working Group meeting, I would like to see yoga be a part of that. It's kind of we should talk about how to make that part of the event. It'll be a 4 to 5 day event,
Correct.
So there should be lots of opportunities.
Correct. And now is the government of India supporting every single country for yoga event. Yeah, all ambassadors and council members are getting information from the instruction from the Ayush department in India, and Prime Minister Modi is pushing for it. So for in any countries, those who do yoga events, easy to connect with their Indian mission or consulate. They will support the project.
When you say support, is there
to mobilize?
More to
Once
mobilize.
we have the government logo on the flyer, everybody give a respect. Nobody question. Not about the money. Sometimes they will connect people and those who
Right.
listen. So a lot of time people stuck with me and my organization or me and my business. That's how I go. And it won't match with the UN agenda. UN want to have things with everyone together. And even for them, it's very hard to handle this situation because people are in a set mind. So we had to break that mind.
Well, Guruji, you gave me a very good piece of advice early on, and you said to partner with as many organizations as want to partner with you.
Correct.
And you got to be careful that they're partnering for the right reason, but don't turn away organizations that have an interest, even if they don't necessarily know exactly what it is yet. Right. But invite them, and that's I've taken that to heart.
So a lot of them I invite small events too, like a small partners, and they don't know anything about it. So when they come there, they start learning themselves. So they can develop from there, right? So some are like a top class partners, some are like a middle tier, some are nothing. So let them, why we kept the 30 minutes open discussion forum in all the events, because let people to speak up. Not only guest speakers should show up, and other people get a chance, and that will make them interest, and they open up their mouth. Open up their mouth means they are getting ready. A lot of time people say sit like this. Psychologically, they are depressed. So we are making them to this is not a dialogue here going on. A lot of people are watching this one, even though they are not here, so they can understand what to do in their own life. Even one word they pick up from us, each of us, they think. But that code is already tied up here. So we had to remove it that time. So this is the way we do things.
I have a question.
Yes.
It's in mentioning Malcolm X. He had studied, for instance, the guerrilla warfare understandings of Che Guevara and certain teachings, as well as Che Guevara was a medical doctor, and he spoke not just about warfare and not just about fighting, but fighting for a specific reason and for certain types of structure. And Malcolm X had a by any means necessary mentality, at least in the beginning, for quite a number of years. Is there certain times in life or certain occasions where it's applicable, where nonviolence won't work, or where it's applicable for?
Did you see the water, how it flows?
Yes.
How it flow?
Spiral.
There's no guarantee for water to flow. If they see there's an opportunity, they go through that area. Because if this land is slanting, water has to run down. They cannot stay there, right? And we may put a dam to block the water. If dam is not strong enough, water will break the dam. And same water is evaporating, going to the sky, and it cannot reach more than a limit. It falls down again. So you are talking about two people, they went through their life experience in those days. It's not applicable for every time. A lion will attack an animal only for eating. If a lion is full with the food, never attack even if you touch the lion. Lion is the strongest animal, right? So that's the way we had to learn. When you pluck a fruit from the tree, the fruit is not yours. Fruit belongs to the tree, and tree is not going to hold that fruit. Once it's ready, it will let it go. That fruit for other animals. So other birds or whatever comes there, they eat, and the life cycle continues. When we think that fruit is ours, and we try to keep it for months in the refrigerator, it became a garbage one day. So do we need garbage, or you want to use that in proper time?
I want to use in proper time.
All right. Same like money. You use the money for proper purpose, it is wealthier than anything else. Otherwise, it will be a cut for your life, including gold. Gold is the only thing we keep it in the bond to create currency. If there is no gold, there is no value for currency. And if you think we are not going to use the gold, there's no value at gold or money at all. Actually, there's no value for currency. So that is why I always promote farmers, because they are the people doing hard for us to sustain, no one else. Not computer or any other items. For us, water, good water and food and the good air, every single being need. And most of the governments never support those people who they, even business class, they use them or abuse them. And they make up stories, oh, we are fine, we are supporting. That's the way they do it. But actually it's not. Some countries create low-cost productions, and it may end up as an international disaster, like a plastic, all other items. So the time to change the environmental system in a proper way is very hard, because we all use granite and marbles. We destroy the mountains, all the plants, and we pretend we are fighting for climate. Unfortunately, each of us are responsible for that destruction. That's the way it is, But it's very hard to go back to the natural state of life. So only thing we can do, we can slow down the process. Technology is good because that is growing every single moment. See, the phone is totally different now. Computer is totally different now. All the technology is great. But for the technology, how much damage we create in the universe, in this earth, I won't say outside, on the destruction is mass destruction going on. So that's the part we had to think about. Any technology is not somebody's property or any company's property or a country's property. It is an international resource. So we're supposed to exchange the knowledge and create a universal style of life and even philosophy, whatever it is. So, and easy to implement, because you see the majority of the people are in youth around the world. They can understand easily, Now, that's the part we had to really work on, that part. And make them be more into art and music and all the stuff. So when they have stress, easy to get rid of their stress through that sports, different extracurricular activities they're supposed to have. We do want to ask something.
And you teach those skills early. You get so much more of a return if you start that in primary school, and that's the truth. Dada Anu from Ananda Marga, we had a great discussion. I think it was at the International Day of Yoga in 2019 at the UN, and he was talking, Gabriel, about the importance to aggressively protect peace, not violently, but if it just like the example Guruji said before, if you can't talk it out or run away, you got to be ready to aggressively protect peace and all the things that will lead you to a strategically more peaceful place. So, no doubt, Malcolm X was a pretty militant dude, but also when Frank Kaufman spoke on that time, he talked about how some of the grand muftis in the Muslim religion, they don't have a pope worldwide. They have the country by country head. And some of those grand muftis might be militant people. And that's just the reality of it. Could be a militant bishop as well in the Catholic Church.
Just the way Kirpal Singh was mentioning about the Sikhs carrying a sword, and they don't go around using it, but it's for protection in extreme cases, just in case. So I see it throughout the world in different, not just religion, but also spiritual traditions as well. And it's not an extremist thing. I don't see it as an extremist thing. I agree with what you were saying, Pete.
Well, he also said the fifth guru raised a 22,000 army of 22,000 soldiers, horse soldiers, cavalry. That's what it was. That's a big army.
Correct.
Yeah.
No, they had the problem from other parts of the world. People come from abroad and invade, and they take their women, rape them, or kill their men and take their children and torture. So they had to protect themselves. And that was the opening area for Middle East people coming to India and take all the wealth from all the kings. When you look at the history of India, I didn't see even current India never went to any other country and attack any country, because we had to protect ourselves. That's what happened. So for those, we spend a lot of money. If they are not fighting each other, we can use that for the betterment for the community, So all the leaders are supposed to think about that one. We just think about make all the war weapons, trillions of dollars we are spending. And we don't need that one. Yeah.
It's a exercise that I run through my head all the time. What is the practical trigger event across the world, maybe even by region, of the youth taking control?
Youth cannot take control because they don't have enough experience. That's number one. And we don't want to promote that either, because what adults will do.
Right.
And step-by-step process, and we don't want the adults sit in the throne forever either.
I agree. And I wasn't so much saying to the exclusion, because in Africa in particular, I've said that and I've gotten almost an exact response. You can't just do away with elders because elders are important. And yes, I totally agree. But at the same time, you have a voting bloc, if you will, that should be able to have its fair share of representation where it's not represented today. That's a different issue.
One question I asked at the UN, one of the events, I said, why we are talking about the gender equality, why we don't have a female secretary general here? We should start from this building. If you make a rule, one turn for a male, one turn for next turn for the female, compulsory, then it will happen. And we have section for the youth, they can have, So the administrative character is supposed to change. Like when you look at this American politics, over 240 years, there's no female official at the White House. Now, after this many years, we got one person there. And even people are criticizing even ladies. That's the thing I heard. You see how social media ladies are writing against her, And she's an immigrant, That's fine, this country for everybody. So we had to force it, even in ambassadors from other countries. One turn, one male, one turn, next turn should be a female. When male is coming, deputy should be a female, and vice versa. You see that? Easy to implement. When I put programs with a lot of ladies, and men will get frustrated. Even some monks will come, they cannot sit with the ladies, problem. Even one of the yoga, even Male and female people did a dance, and one monk was saying, tell them don't do dance together. So I asked him, did he get erection from seeing this one? You had to set up your mind properly. He cannot control his sexual orientation. Yeah. And he pretended wearing an orange. I'm a monk. Where you come from? From a woman. So these are unnecessary dogmas. So you have to think about the reality of the life.
I still got to believe that there is a solution, or not a solution, a path that will more quickly weigh the inputs of the youth compared to the path that it would
we had
be
to
on today.
Put programs for youth to understand. Male and female is supposed to be there. So it will take some years. I'll say more than 10 years for them to understand things. And they had to implement it and in practice. If they cannot implement their practice, they are not going to lead at all. So that's what we had to work on.
Well, we'll continue to work together to accelerate that timeline, right?
Right. I see somebody is joining in the group. Who is the person?
I have to jump off in a few minutes.
Right. We'll talk to the person, then we'll end. Galaxy J7 Prime is connecting to audio. Not connecting. Anyway, so we'll end up. We'll see you on Sunday.
For sure. And see you tomorrow night.
Yeah, tomorrow night we have.
Gandhi King event.
Correct. Okay. Namaste, everyone. Thank you.
Namaste. Thank you, Guruji. Thank you, Gabriel.